Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by a top trainer, Shane McGuigan. Shane, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Danny, mate. Yeah, good to have you down.
Just worked out to make up the distance there. You see Chris Billam-Smith working out behind you. What's next on the agenda for him?
Looking to get him out at the end of the year. So just the defence of his world title. There is a rematch clause in there with Lawrence Okoli, so that might be next, or there might be another option. So we'll let the promoter do his job, and we'll know in the next couple of weeks. We've been working behind the scenes on a few different options, so hopefully we can get it all confirmed soon.
Well, first up, next week, you've got a bit of a logistical challenge as well as a boxing one, in that you're supposed to be in two places at once almost. You've got Ellie Scotney and Caroline Dubois, both in world title fights on the same night on different shows. How will you manage that?
I've got a body double, so I'm going to get someone to come in and just fill in for me on both of them. Really, I'll just be at home and sipping my tea. Now it's going to be pushed for time, but Josh Pritchard is going to be with Caroline, and I'm going to be over there with Ellie, and then I'm going to get a car across, and he'll tape her up. But we'll be there with her all in the build-up, both fights. Do you know what I mean? So. It's not ideal, but it's just a logistical issue. We asked Matchroom to put Ellie on the week later. There was actually originally a show on the 23rd of September, but it got pulled. And we were looking at the 7th of October because we knew that this one was scheduled. But you know they've got their priorities, and you've got to respect that, and we've just got to work around it in-house.
How frustrating is it? Because I know promoters and fans get frustrated when shows clash. This is another problem with shows being on the same night. Yeah,
both in London as well. So, but we know, we just taking a back seat. I've got a fight with DAZN, and I've got other fights with Sky. It's just you got both promoters trying to tarnish the other one's shows. I just think it's just a bit annoying for the fans, because they want to go and witness both shows, but it is what it is. You know, when they've got dates and when they've got fights, they've got to keep happy. When they've got the TV or the streaming company that they've got to keep happy, you can understand it. It's just, I think they should bring back the Wednesday night fights, for the smaller shows and stuff like that. Obviously you've got big world title fights, but I think if there's like next generation shows coming through, then they should maybe bring a midweek show.
Now, we talked before about you coming quite close to working with Tommy Fury at one point. He's going to be fighting. That's right. He's going to be fighting KSI, of course, in what's going to be, by all intents and purposes, a big event, lucrative event. We also saw recently Deontay Wilder now calling out Brock Lesnar, of all people. Tyson's fighting Francis Ngannou. What do you make of all this kind of crossover boxing and the influence of boxing stuff? Do you think it's gone too far at this point, or do you think it's good for the sport?
Not really. I don't think it's necessarily good for the sport. I think it's good. It's good for the crossover fans, like the UFC fans, and the boxing fans. We can get behind our own, and they can get behind their own. And obviously, it's going on in a boxing ring, so it's obviously going to favour the boxer. But I don't know, Brock Lesnar, he seems very old, doesn't he? I'm not quite sure about that one. But it's a money spinner, and like these fighters, they almost earn their right, like to have those exhibition fights. If you think back in the day, I remember Muhammad Ali he fought that wrestler, and and I remember George Foreman boxed 5 men in the one night. So pretty sure he knocked them all out.
Do you watch it?
I don't know. I don't watch it, no. But I do watch stuff like Terence Crawford versus Errol Spence, and Tank Davies versus Ryan Garcia, and the big super fights that we've been lucky to have. And I'll be watching Canelo versus Charlo, even though there's obviously a weight discrepancy there, but it's still a really still a high quality fight. So we can't complain too much, because we have had the opportunity to have lots of good fights this year that we were waiting on a long time to get. But everyone, from an entertainment standpoint, Tyson Fury beating up on Francis Ngannou will be more exciting than Tyson Fury versus Usyk, because he'll land a lot more shots, so he'll make himself look better. And at the end of the day, this is Tyson Fury wanting to look better. He doesn't want to have a chess match of a fight. He wants to have entertaining fights that are all on his terms. Hence the reason why he got people like Dylan White and Derek Chisora, because he knew what they were about and they would walk straight onto him. and people are tuning in to see it, so it's hard to really knock it.
Do you give KSI any chance against Tommy?
No, not at all. See you, mate.
Good to see you, mate.
No, I don't think so. I think KSI is not as good as Jake Paul, and I don't think, he's as good as him. So sorry, refrain from me saying I think he's as good as him. I just don't think he's as big as him. So Jake Paul's a bigger, stronger athlete than KSI is naturally. I think KSI would probably be like a 160 if he was actually wanting to fight properly. And Tommy's a big lump, and he wasn't even as big as Jake Paul. So it's just going to be it's an easier fight in my opinion.
And just finally, obviously we've got a big heavyweight fight this weekend, the rematch between Joe Joyce and Zhilei Zhang. If Joyce is to get revenge or redemption, what tactical or strategic adjustments does he need to make?
I think he needs to, negate that backhand and even that front hook of Zhang. I mean, he was catching him all day long. I think he's just got to be busier. Joe, he starts too slow. I think he's had good warm up. He needs to be, a bit more negative early, in a sense, use his movement a bit. If you actually go back and look at Joe Joyce when he boxed in the ABAs, I think he boxed like Nick Webb back in the ABAs. He moved his feet loads. He moved around the ring, and he was really fleet-footed. And he's a great athlete. He has that in him. He can go out, run out. I've had him in the gym. He's a good runner. He's a good athlete. So use that athleticism. He has a great engine. So if he's moving his legs and actually letting Zhang track him and fall onto the shots, and he doesn't even have to counter. He's just to keep him offset all of the time. 3-4 rounds, Zhang will be tired. It doesn't matter if he's hitting a target or not. Zhang's just tired. He'd be tired shadowboxing after 5 rounds. He's just one of those guys, big, heavy-handed, big, slow guy. So, you get him to fire, and you just keep moving. And then as the fight goes on, you just think of it as it's split into 2 halves. You get through the first 6, and then you apply your pressure on the next 6, and he should stop him. But it's just whether he can apply that and do it on the night.
So can I get a prediction on that note?
I don't know. I'm not in the training camp. I mean, Joe Joyce, being a Olympic silver medalist, should have, I know Zhang was a good amateur as well, but he should have more than enough to be able to apply just simple strategic tactics. Whether he can do it at 37 years of age, I think he is now, I'm not too sure. But he's never in a dull fight, so I'm sure it'll be a good fight.
Brilliant. Shane, always a pleasure. Cheers, man. Appreciate it.